I think boxing should be like implemented in all schools. I think that should be part of the school
I agree with
curriculum.
you. I
Aye,
agree
big
with
time.
you.
Teaches young men respect, and that's what that's just what everybody's banging on about now. The youth of today, oh, there's no respect, this and that. It's not about your mum smacking your
Get to the
ass.
fucking gym. Yes, we are back at it, the real life, and this week's guest, I'm here, it's the big dog, it's David Jamieson. David, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. How's yourself?
I'm very well, mate, very well indeed. How's life in general?
Aye, very well, mate. Now that I can actually eat solid food again and I'm back in the gym training, it's certainly better than it was through Christmas with the injury.
So you've recently moved house, how's that been for you?
Aye, no, well, we were speaking about that off camera. I moved 3 days before I went to London to fight Mikel, so it was like a bit of a whirlwind, but it's actually turned out to be a bit of a blessing, because when I came back up the road, it was like we'd never been anywhere else. We were all set up and settled in, and aye, very happy.
I bet the neighbours having a party when you were away down at London fighting, were you?
I know, well, that was it. No, everybody around about us have all been cracking, and they were all watching the telly and getting behind us and stuff, so...
No Asbos yet then, no?
Nothing yet, but I'm sure the missus is working on that one, aye.
So you're back at it at the 10th of March at the Braveheart show on the Kinnet promotion show. How excited are you to get back in there and do what you do best and enjoy it once again?
Yeah, I think it's all about momentum boxed, isn't it? So I was very keen to just recover for the injury, obviously give it enough time, but the surgeons have assured me at the 10-week mark everything's absolutely fine, so I just want to get back in there and get going again. Like I say, capitalising that momentum. I think it's very fresh in everybody's heads. The account I gave of myself, so let's get back in there and let's get pushing back into the top 10 and chasing titles again.
What kind of performance can we expect for you on the 10th? Is it a matter of getting the rounds in and getting in there and enjoying it?
Aye and no. I'm never looking to get the rounds in. I'm always out there just to try and stop my man. That's my deal. You don't get paid for overtime, all that sort of stuff. We get the rounds in the gym. You go out there and fight night and you're looking to get your man out of there as quick as possible.
How's preparation been so far? Are you hitting the numbers? Are you in the zone?
Yeah, I know. You know, I look at my fitness and stuff. Even with 10 days' notice, I'm always in the gym. I'm living the life. I'm staying fit. And yeah, we spoke to surgeons. The jaw's fine. Everything's good on that side. And in the gym, I'm just buzzing to get capitalising that momentum.
Since that defeat from Mikel Lewell, how have you been coping? What have you learned from that fight?
I think it's... I knew years back when I got the opportunity on The Ultimate Boxer that I could cut it, big fights on the telly and things like that. So I think just now it's proved to me that, well, I mean, you were within touching distance of lifting the British title on 10 days' notice. So there's absolutely no doubts in my head now what level I'm operating at. And there shouldn't be, no, there's definitely no doubt. So I just want to get back on that stage. Big opportunities on Sky Sports, back on the telly, decent money, things like that. And I know that given a proper crack of the whip, given a proper camp, I can go on and do this.
How did you feel before that injury in the fight? You were hurting him in there, big man.
Aye, it's one of them. I spoke to you about it off camera there, like, you know, hats off to Mikel Lewell. I don't believe in lucky shots in boxing and things like that, but no, it was boxing to a game plan. Was doing enough just to sort of bank rounds, do enough just to chip away and take enough out of him. And the plan was to really then pick up the pace in the last 4 rounds, going down the stretch and really try and stop him. And everything was coming off, obviously, before the injury. How
badly do you want to get back into title contention? You hungry?
Yeah, massively, aye. I think after the fight, I was... we get blue lighted to Royal London Hospital, and I'm sitting there in my boxing shorts, my boxing boots with a towel, with my jaw hanging, with the blood dripping into one of these wee sick balls, you know, the wee sort of like paper mache sick balls, and my missus Michaela sitting there, and I'd sort of, feeling sorry for myself, and I'd basically retired, sitting there. I thought, nah, it's maybe it's time. 2 minutes later, Sam Kinnock, my manager, he's come in with my trainer Jerry and stuff, and came to life again. Right, let's get that rematch sorted. The fire still burns, probably stronger than ever. And let's get back into the top 10, back into title contention. Is it the British title? That's always been my boyhood dream. But anything, just good, meaningful 50-50 fights on the television like that. That's what I'm looking.
They say there's nothing more dangerous than a man who heals his wounds. How dangerous are you now going forward? Do you belong at that level? I know that a lot of people know that as well. How dangerous are you going forward now?
Well, I think now it's what have I not experienced in a boxing ring? I've been at it like 16 years, a long time. You know, decent amateur pedigree. I've served my apprenticeship in the pros, boxing the big shows in the telly, boxing the small hall shows. You know, had the highs, the lows. I've experienced a fair bit now, so like I mean, it's just like there's nothing holding me back. It's just toe direct, just straight at it now.
Leaving no stone unturned.
That's it. Yeah.
Are you targeting the Billam Smiths, the Coleys, the Chamberlains, guys like that? Are they the guys you want to face in the next 12 to 18 months?
Big time, aye. I mean, you speak about your Billam Smith there. I mean, these are fights that I honestly believe, like I say, that proper crack of the whip, a decent camp behind me, I can go on and win. Your Lawrence O'Coley, I'll make no qualms about that. You need to pay me some serious money to fight the big man. He's about a problem, isn't he? Punch your house down. What's he, 6'7", 6'8"?
He's a big dog, isn't he?
He's a big dude. And just very, very awkward, isn't he? That sort of just throwing that jab out and boom, that right hand hits you. I mean, you're just going to wake up in the changing room, aren't you? You
were down at the Boxer show and that, so Ben Shalom is in control of that kind of thing down there. There was a phone call made the next day. Did he come and visit you? And what was said in that phone call between you and Ben going forward? Are you going back on the Boxer shows? What can you tell us?
We sat down in the hotel lobby when I came down the stairs, so it wasn't even a phone call. Yeah. Just bumped into him coming out the elevators. And it was just the whole, loved what we did. Did I enjoy it? Obviously, apart from the injury. And getting back on, getting another chance on the television. I showed my worth, I showed my value. That's what obviously big TV boxing's about. It's about entertainment, isn't it? You're not coming out there and stinking the place out. People want to watch me. I'm a pay-to-watch fighter. So they're talking about getting us back on a decent level international opponent and an 8-rounder, 10-rounder, something like that.
You know what I like about you, mate? You've got that patience, that strength, that dignity. You know your time is coming, don't you?
Yeah, I think you need that, especially for young fighters coming up and things. I mean, you don't be in too much of a rush, and you can't rush it too much. If you put the work in, you believe in yourself, build yourself the right way, the opportunities will come.
Do you visualise yourself capturing these big titles?
Now, yeah, definitely, absolutely. I've watched that fight back with Mikel. I mean, the British title, I can't tell you much that with the Mentes, but I can go on now. I believe there's no, that's what I was saying, there's no doubt there. Every fighter's going to have that wee bit of doubt in their head about, can I cut it? No, now I know it's just about getting back on that stage, getting the opportunities, and I know that I can pull the trigger when the time comes.
Do you feel with a full training camp things might be different? It's okay in hindsight and things like that, but with a different camp, do you feel you kind of maybe excelled yourself more in there and got the victory?
Yeah, I think that's a question of these lips that it keeps getting asked and stuff, and I make it very clear. No, I give Mikel his place. It didn't come off, things like that. But my point of reference was the David Jamieson in Turnberry in February, fighting for the IBO for 10 rounds against the Janjarov lad for Sweden. That guy, when I'd hurt Mikel Lawal in the second round, I'd have had the gears to go through there, and I'd have probably get him out of there.
You've been in this game 16 years. You still enjoying it?
Yes, I think we spoke about that just off camera, and this is the whole point in this, being very forthcoming and honest. I do. I'm very much a creature of habit. I love my training. I'm always going to do that. Even when I retire, I'll need to be in the gym, training away, keeping my body right, staying in good shape. Certain aspects of it, like the sparring and things like that, sparring becomes a bit of a drag. It's just obviously a necessity. But like you've been at it a long time. You've got young guys in the gym trying to cave your head in 2-3 nights a week after a 9-10 hour day out on the tools. Maybe I don't, the romantic notions about that aren't they quite there anymore. But fight night, I mean, that gets me up. Fight night's still.
You mentioned habit there. motivation is what gets you started, and habit is what keeps you going. Have you got that habit still?
Yeah, discipline as well. I think I'm a creature of habit, but it's the discipline, like getting up, doing your road work, because you can be in a habit of going to the gym and things like that. But I don't care what MD says. You're not in a habit of getting up at 5 o'clock and going your runs. It's discipline. The key. That's more the key point than just the habit.
You made a lot of sacrifices to get to this point.
I think that always comes up with different fighters. Yeah, I think any fighter coming up will tell you that, like, nights out, boys' holidays, all that sort of stuff. But it's not so much that stuff, like the obvious stuff like that. I think it's just wee mental battles in your head, and you can get right deep into that. That there's mega sacrifices you make.
Tell me
It's
about some of
hard,
them.
it's hard to explain. I think it's more putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, because you know that's where you're going to grow. That's the sacrifices. I mean, you could live the easy life. You don't need to put yourself in these positions. It's not just like I say, the missing nights out and things like that. It's putting yourself in harm's way, I suppose, isn't it? That's a serious sacrifice. Every fabric of your being as a human says no, don't do this, but you're still crashing on and doing it. That's a different level of sacrifice as opposed to no going out and getting in the randan with your mates.
You still in love with the sport?
Yeah, aye, big time. Yep, it's my first love.
Who's the second? The dogs?
Kayla, I know, me Dave and Derek. No, a good lady.
Hey, you're 30 years of age now. Do you feel you're reaching the peak years of your career?
Turned 31 in January there, so everybody talks about your peak years as an athlete, and obviously there'll be some sort of science behind that physically, like how your body is and things like that. I think, because not just to do with how my body is. My body's maybe not as robust as it once was. So a bit of grinding on my body. But in terms of levels, fitness-wise, looking after my body, and then the mental side of it, because I'm peaking mentally, I've got a good bit of experience behind me and things like that. So the two of the factors sort of levelling out, I would say I'm really poised to do something in the next couple of years.
How's your mental strength?
Unwavering, solid. Nobody will beat me mentally, and that's that's something that I've worked on over the last few years. Something that I speak to young fighters about as well. Like, I've got this wee thing that I've always said, like, 90% of boxers' training is physical, and you get coached on that. There's always people there to assist you on it, and 10% is mental. Nobody coaches you in that. You've just got to coach yourself in that and get yourself up for it. Make sure you're ready and game, all that sort of rubbish. And see, on fight night, it's totally flipped. 90% of it's mental and 10% is physical. Because there was times as an amateur, I've been quite truthful about this in other interviews and things, like I was that inconsistent as an amateur. I'd go in and blast folk out and bomb stoppages, this and that, get through to like the semis the next week, and then I would shit myself the next week, and just totally wreck myself mentally. So when I started then, do you know who was a big inspiration at the time? It was Conor McGregor. I know it was a different discipline, but I was always watching about his interviews and listening to how he speaks and how he gets into his own head, and I started really, really working on myself. As much as I've always been a compulsive worker physically, I started dedicating a bit of time to my mental state and getting myself ready mentally. And now, like, totally unwavering. Nobody will beat me mentally. Solid.
When did that change for you? What moment can you go back to and go, do you know what, right, this is it. I need to get myself in here and get myself switched on. What age was that at?
There was always this thing that sticks out about the Western Districts. I'd won like the Scottish Novice, I'd won the Scottish Intermediates and all that stuff. And I couldn't win a Western District title. It just eluded me. Got to the finals like 3 years in a row. There was a boy, Cameron New, trained with Renfrewshire. And it was everybody expected me to beat Cameron. And I went out and I get beat. And then the next year, I got him in the finals again. And I started really working on myself mentally. Because everybody thought, no disrespect to Cameron, but everybody thought like, because of my experience and things, I should have went out and beat him. And it just totally went away from me. I totally lost control. And then the following year, done my quarters, my semis, got to the finals, it was Cameron again. And that's when I'd started really focusing on myself mentally. And I don't know what age it was I maybe like 19, 20? And I went out and I took control of the situation and boxed to a win.
Did you lack a bit of self-confidence back then?
Big time, aye, big time. That's what I was speaking to you about off camera about Big Sneds. One of my coaches that sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and I said to you, he believed in me at a time when I couldn't believe in myself, and that was a massive thing. I started boxing because I was the laugh we've always had, and I big fat and ginger, wasn't it? Carried a bit of weight, got a bit of grief at school, was never sporty, last picked in rounders every time. So yeah, belief, serious lack of belief, hence why I was probably such a compulsive trainer, because you tend to find that the guys that don't have the mega belief in themselves, they're trying to out-train that belief, the lack of belief. You're trying to fortify your mental state, whereas you get the guys that believe in themselves and they tend to let themselves down fitness-wise because they know they're the man. So I don't need to go and do my road work because I know I can get in there and get it done.
How much did Sneds, you just touched on there, how much did you play an important part in your life at that time?
Massive, aye, massive. Like I say, believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself, because it was probably a pivotal moment where I was battling with myself mentally, and if he wasn't there pushing me on, I could potentially have walked away from it.
Do you miss him?
Aye, big time, every day. It's not something we talk about that often now in the gym. I think it's a sore one for everybody, for all the coaches. But aye, no, massively.
How important is that, having that inner mental strength for you, David, even if it's in fight night training, even without boxing, outside the boxing, in life, how important is that mental strength for you?
Big time, aye, no, well, that's a good point. That's something that, not to go off philosophical here, we've got the pure orange robes and the shaving the head like the monks and all that shortly, but you know, it's that mental fortitude, like what I learned in and out of boxing gyms coming up as a young man and developing into an adult. It was a work ethic, a strength of character. It's all that like heavy duty stuff that folk don't want to talk about. It's not just about all the stuff that you see, hitting bags, fitness. It's like I said, 90% of the training's physical, 10%'s mental, and on fight night it's totally flipped. It might even be more so. It could be 99% mental and 1% physical.
Well, it's true what they say, your thoughts are your words, your words are your actions, and your actions is your destiny.
Like that.
And that mental strength behind that, it's such a powerful quote that I've memorised myself.
Yeah.
If you're not correct there, you don't perform.
No.
And that's boxing, anything, whether it's fucking working in a bank or anything like that, you must have that inner core to perform.
No, because that was a bit in a tangent there, but like you said, you were talking about that applying to what I've learned, these skills in these gyms, I've managed to apply to my working life. So then I've excelled in that, you know, my home life. You cultivate good habits in a boxing gym, and I always bang on about that, a good work ethic. That's what a lot of young guys sort of lack these days. Everybody wants 60 grand a year for.
But if you don't earn it, you don't deserve it.
No, that's it.
And
that's the work in.
That's if you want to get a raise at the work, or you've got to dedicate yourself to your craft. You've got to give it everything. You don't get nothing for nothing in this life.
No, that's it. And that's what it taught me. And these, like the four walls of a boxing gym, it was a work ethic. You get out what you put in, and I can apply that to everything else in my life now.
You've got a great attitude, not only in boxing but in life. Where do you get that from?
It's again not getting heavy duty, but it's a strength of character thing. I think I struggled a lot as a young man, like going down the stretch of my teens. I didn't really believe in myself. Didn't really like who I was. I struggled a wee bit, and then just made a conscious mental decision to start working on myself, like in all different aspects.
Do you feel you lacked a bit of discipline back then?
Aye, big time, aye. No, it was like round to your grands, and it was like 2 Empire biscuits before dinner, know what I mean? So it was, aye, definitely.
How are you now, mentally and emotionally?
Much better, aye, no, it's solid, aye, that's, aye, and I can own that, I can say it with conviction, totally solid mentally. Couldn't be happier in my home life, everything's falling into place. And that's again, it ties back into the boxing. As long as everything's in place like that, everything's totally in place for me to really step on now.
You're in a good place.
Big time, the best place. You know, happily married, 2 cracking wee dogs, just moved house. You know, putting that account of myself against Michaela. Wow, aye, your wife's great.
You're ready to go, big man, aren't you?
Aye, big time,
You're
man.
coming for
Aye,
it, aren't you?
right now, let's go. aye, big time, mate, big time.
So let's just go back to the start. So you're brought up East Kilbride. How was your upbringing?
Aye, no, great. Aye, shout out to my mum and dad, Jackie and Kenny. Great upbringing. So I grew up sort of on the south side. I grew up in Mansfield, no far from like Shawlands, but it wasn't like the hoity-toity bit of Shaw. No, it was Mansfield. It was pretty
Scheme.
grim. Aye, big time. And I moved to East Kilbride, I think, when I was 10. Moved to Rockhampton Avenue, just across from the Westwood pub. And things were fine, but as I say, like, I was just, every young man will have these things. I didn't have a massive group of pals, small circle. Was I really compatible with everybody that I was cutting about with? I think I just sort of fell into that circle. And it wasn't as I started getting a bit older and thinking about what I was wanting to do, get into the training, became a bit of a loner because I was just totally hooked on the training. And then before you know it, your circle of friends changes, you find your feet, and in the blink of an eye, here we are.
Did you have much?
In terms of like monetary wise,
yeah.
growing up, I mean, I was definitely like only child, wasn't I? So I was definitely spoiled, you could say, but not spoiled. I always knew the value of money. My mum was always very good at that way, like keeping me grounded and like not making sure I wasn't too petted, if you see what I'm saying. Like we had that laugh out in the car park, this isn't a hotel and all that stuff. My mum was a bit of a disciplinarian. And at the time I hated it and thought all my mates were getting away with murder, and now I totally respect my mum for what she's done because I believe I've turned into a good person, if you see what I mean. I mean, I was out washing dishes and my mate, his uncle owned a restaurant, and I get roped into like the kitchen porter thing. I was 15, just washing dishes. So I've been working since I was 15, just washing dishes on a Saturday and a Sunday. I was always out making my own money. I was never looking, when I say I was spoiled, I was never like hand out, getting £20 notes off my mum. That never happened. It was no, get out. And then as soon as I was working, I was paying dig money. And like I say, I was feeling like it was a bit hard done to, but no, it's made me the man that I am now. I know the value of money. I feel like I'll be well placed to be a good parent when that comes around.
You close to your mum and dad?
Aye, big time, aye. Yeah, very much so. We've had our differences over the years. I'm sure they'll not mind me saying that, but everybody has. But no, listen, big time, aye. Love them to bits.
Do you feel the way your mum and dad have brought you up and brought you into the world has shaped you into the person that you are today?
Yeah, massively, aye. I think like the whole disciplinarian thing that I was talking about with my mum, like just structure, doing what you don't want to do, when you know you need to do it, all that sort of stuff. Like I'm able to just flick a switch and go into automatic pilot, because at that time I didn't have a choice and I didn't want to do it and stuff like that. But now obviously you've got that discipline and things like that, so I can. She's gave me these qualities, definitely.
What did your mum say to you? You wanted to go to boxing?
What the hell's been wrong here? I mean, we still laugh about it and stuff like that. There was no. Don't get me wrong. My dad's cousin was Chris McAdam.
Yep.
That's my dad's cousin. So there was a sort of boxer in the family, if you like. But no, I mean, I don't come for as much as I came for a wee bit of a rougher area. But then I come from a pure fighting family. Like, it wasn't like that. So when this all came up, my mum was just like, I think she was just hoping it was like a fad. I was going to, like we mentioned, Billy Leach's circuit classes there and things like that. I think she thought it was just going to be a fad, and then before you know it, I'm boxing for Scottish titles as an amateur, and then you fast forward here and you're on Sky Sports. It's mad.
How'd you go with your dad?
Aye, brilliant. So, I talking about my dad, I've got obviously my dad, James Jamieson. I don't see Jim that much, but my dad, like Kenny, so he's like my stepdad. he's been a massive part of my life. He's taught me how to be a man, to be fair.
See somebody you looked up to when you were young?
Aye, big time, aye. I think I give my pure hard time it. I think everybody with the whole stepdad thing does. But
Was that hard at the start for you?
aye. I think it was just difficult, to be honest with you. I don't mind saying that. But he he taught me all taught me patience, taught me. I was a very angry young man. I had a serious temper, not the pure ginger gene. You know what I mean? I was an angry man, but Kenny really calmed me and just taught me some right good values, and massive influence.
See, getting those core values from Kenny back then, how important was that for you?
Oh,
For your maturity?
Pivotal. Serious. Well, I mean, if that sort of ties into it, like all my pals, when I sort of came away from school and went into my working life, all my best mates are like 40. You know what I mean? I started hanging about with a lot of an older crowd and stuff like that, and I just couldn't be around folk my own age. And so Kenny very much matured me when he came into my life.
Were you close for going down that kind of dodgy route in life?
No. Like, when I say that, no, I was never like a bad boy. You know what I mean? I had a bit of a temper, and I maybe could have maybe get into a few scuffles here and there and stuff like that. But I was never like the young team, cutting about with the young team in with the cool crowd. Did a bit of bevying in the woods when I was well underage.
I'm wrong with that.
I know, but you know what I mean?
You get the bucky in it.
That's the crack, isn't it?
Candy special brew in the bucky in it.
That's the part, aye. Setting fire to deodorant cans. But no, it wasn't like a pure bad boy. It wasn't like I was a potential to go off the rails, making some like daft decisions and stuff, but nothing mega scary.
Any brothers or sisters?
None. No.
Only child?
Yep.
How was that for you?
It's let you go. Never wanted for anything, things like that, but I would. That's always what I've said to folk. I would have gave any worldly possession that I had for a brother or a sister. See, to have a sibling, I'd love to have that. But obviously, it didn't come along, so you deal with it.
What about the school?
How was that at school? Well, I stayed on to 6th year. Whether that be to my detriment, probably because I didn't really know what direction I wanted to go off in. Grades wise, not too bad. No mega, there was like 1s and 2s there. Got some higher my higher English, get my higher PE. Wasn't mega academic, but see, because if I had like that, I've always had this addictive personality. If it's something I want to do, see if I wanted to excel at school, I really, really could have. But I didn't. It was just, you were just going and getting a kick about with your pals and stuff like that, wasn't it?
How have you found it, having an addictive personality? Do you still have that to this day, or
Mega.
is that kind of fizzled out a wee bit?
No, it's mega, aye, but it's because I've totally got a hold on it now. I don't mean like I was ever in risk of like going off in the wrong path, like addicted to drugs and alcohol. No, it wasn't like that. It was just like, I'm like 100% or not at all. So now that I've sussed that, it's great because I can apply it to like all different areas of my life, and I can just like batter into things. So it's been great for my work and things like that.
Is it easy to deal with something like that?
Not at first, because I didn't really know, but now that I've got a handle on it, it's great because you can just really make it work for yourself.
Do you work round about it, I take it, aye?
Yeah.
Day-to-day activities?
Yeah, that's it. It's like I say, it's just 100% or not at all. If I'm no like reading a book, I wouldn't get into reading, but if I find a book that I really, really like, I'll scud it in 3 days.
Don't half-ass it, mate.
No, that's the crack. It's balls to the wall. I'll just, not interested.
So recently, just last year, I'm sure it was, you get married to Michaela, is that correct?
It's a year past in October there, we get married in the Straven Hotel.
How's that been?
Brilliant, mate. Married life's great. Everybody asks me that, how's married life? She still doesn't listen to us. That's no change, you know what I mean? But no, married life's great.
She keep you right?
Big time, aye. She does. And I don't mind saying that. As much as I've firmly got a hold on myself, that she'll tell me what I don't want to hear.
You need that, but don't you?
Big time, aye. Yeah.
She fully support you?
Oh, she's my biggest support, aside from my mum and dad, she's my biggest driving force.
Mm-hmm. She's your best mate?
Big time, aye. Night out with the boys, night in with Michaela, it's the second every time.
Just for talk's sake, see when the shit goes south, she always there?
Oh, aye, to get me into trouble. Aye. No, she's well. There you go. Like, I mean, I gave that one there. Like, boom, she's all glammed up to the nines, boxing for the British title live on Sky. Next thing you know, your jaw's hanging off, and you're getting blue lighted in an ambulance with her to Royal London Hospital with one of these paper mache balls with blood just streaming out my mouth, and she's there through thick and thin.
You're a dedicated athlete, okay? How important is it to have somebody like Michaela round about you when you're going through this whole journey?
Aye, massive. That's a really good point, actually. A lot of young fighters, like the whole girlfriends and stuff, will maybe not be as heavy duty as married and things like that. But see, if your home life's not right, you're not going to be right in there. I don't care what MD says. People talk about like the escapism of boxing and stuff like that. Nah, it's self-destruct at that point. If you're in there running from something, it's self-destruct. That's what that is. Things need to be in order out here for you to perform in there. That's your, if I can give you some sort of cheesy analogy, that's like your launch pad for your rocket to launch off of. You can't launch a rocket off of a swamp. See if it'll just all cave in, it'll just go to pieces. See if you've got a solid concrete pad, everything, then the sky's the limit. That was right cheesy, wasn't it? That was mega, wasn't it?
See, with her, where would you be?
I am still in the gym, still fighting, still doing my thing, still working hard. I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm not. She's been the making of us, definitely. But I would still have been the man that I am. I just probably wouldn't have been able to excel to the heights and things that I believe that Michaela will propel me onto. There's a couple more rungs at the top of the ladder that she'll push me onto that I would never have been able to hit.
You know what this sport's like, big man. There comes a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. It takes your soul, this sport.
Not at all.
See having someone like Michaela round you, does she take the burden away for that?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Because shout out to Michaela, because it's very much the pressure's on her shoulders. I'm grumpy, I'm cutting weight, I'm maybe not the best person to be around in the house and stuff like that. And Michaela wears that as well. She needs to live with that. No Chinese for 8 weeks. That's a heavy burden, isn't it? That's the crack, but that's the deal. That's camp life.
What's your go-to meal?
As in, like, cheat meal?
Cheat meal.
Oh, I will love a Chinese, man. Singapore noodles, honey and garlic ribs. There's a Chinese in East Kilbride called Mata Hari. Used to be called Asian Fusion. Mate, different
gravy,
league, man. Like Gucci Chinese food.
Like an Indian?
I know. If I go for an Indian, like a curry's wasted on us. I like the South Indian garlic and stuff like that. The curries are wasted on us. See, if I'm going for an Indian, it's like just pure horrible, like munchie box material, chicken pakora, doner meat. See all that stuff, just the pure filth.
Tastes great, but after you feel absolute shit, don't you?
Like you're going to church, man, throwing holy water on yourself. It's horrendous. Like Italian food, Italian, Mexican. Who am I kidding? I like all food. All food, but the Chinese is a nice, easy one to pick the phone up and say, 20 minutes, isn't it?
Can't beat it, can't you?
Brilliant.
That's quality. So let's just go back to the boxing. What brought you to the game?
Well, I was rubbish at everything, rubbish at all sports. I wasn't remotely sporty at all at school. And then when I had 14, 15, getting a bit of grief at school and stuff like that. And MMA was the big thing. It was like up and coming at the time. It was like the Ultimate Fighter was in the telly, all this stuff. So I started going to an MMA class in John Wright Sports Centre in East Kilbride. And a Thursday night, I went for there and I started realising I was better with my hands and things like that. Was I going to fight? Was I no? Wasn't I? I was really just going to see I was going to an MMA class. Looked big and tough, wasn't it? Pair of Lonsdale gloves for 20 quid out of Sports Direct, know what I mean? And then I went from there and they recommended me because I was better with my hands to a boy called Billy Leach. That's we'll start talking about Billy. Billy ran a circuit class on a Wednesday and a Friday in John Wright's. And listen, MD that's been to Billy, we were talking about it off camera. MD was at Billy's class. Talks about it with like mega fond memories. It was just a pure sweat box, windows shut, The wooden floor was all bevelled because of folks' sweat. There was about 30 bodies in the class. Just this mad circuit, hitting bags. It's brilliant, man. Brilliant. Honestly, see, when I think back to it now, like, I wish I could just flick a switch and be back in there. It's brilliant.
You mentioned a second ago there that you had a bit of grief at school. Can you elaborate on that?
You were heavy and you had ginger hair. So it wasn't like I was never bullied at school. Like, never anything like that, or give me your lunch money, you know what I mean? It was never that part. Nobody was taking my lunch money, mate.
Somebody's getting it.
Aye. But no, just a bit just a bit insecure maybe at school. And when I say I get a bit of grief, I think grief obviously was just ginger balls and all that sort of stuff. But that stuff plays a bit more plays a wee bit more in your head than you would think. That was really the extent of it.
Do you feel coming to the gym gave you that kind of confidence and motivation in your life that you needed back then when you were a young kid?
Aye, big time, yeah. Because once you get in and you start moving with this stuff, and there's just like-minded people around about you, and people are built up in boxing gyms, aren't they? Like you never see MD that leaves after a training session and they're feeling even worse. It's just an endorphin machine in here, and it's just a feel-good chemical flowing through you.
Getting rid of that testosterone, innit?
That was the crack. Aye, no, because I think when you're young, you're getting a bit of grief like that and stuff. Like, you're an angry young man, and you need an avenue for it, because you're only going to find the wrong avenue if you've not got that discipline round about you. Like structure. Young men need structure. I don't care, even if you're like the pure, like the shining knight in armour or that sort of stuff. If you're the model child, young guys need structure in their life. That's why, off on a pure tangent here, this is like STV news stuff, but I think boxing should be like implemented in all schools. I think that should be part of the school curriculum. Big time. Teaches young men respect, and that's what what everybody's banging on about now. The youth of today, there's no respect, this and that. It's not about your mum smacking your arse.
Get to the fucking gym.
Aye, it's not about your mum smacking your arse and all that rubbish. Get to the gym. Get to the gym and meet guys like Jerry Higgins, Tam Slave and Tam Campbell, Billy Leach. These guys are role models for you.
We're going about the mental health. It's a very important factor in life now. But see, young men and women and things like that, see, without a routine in their life, it only kind of elevates mental health. Without it, you need a routine in your life.
You need structure,
You need
man.
structure, a routine. You've got to go down that road. That's how people end up with mental health problems. I'm not saying that's the core problem of it.
No.
But you have to have that routine in your life.
It's a massive thing, because like there's me, like 3 weeks out for fight night, like body deep right into a camp, grafting, your body's knackered. Yes, you're sore. I live for this. This is where I'm. But by the way, see that now. I mean, I've got the Hoover out up the road. I'm hoovering. I'm doing the hoovering. I'm going my run. I'm so productive. I'm on the ball. I'm boom, 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 boom. I'm just hitting everything, and that's because of the structure. I know what I'm doing at 3 o'clock. I know what I'm doing at 5 o'clock. I know what I'm eating for dinner the night, and that I thrive off that. That's what I'm saying. I'm a creature of habit. I totally thrive off that. Because don't get me wrong, 3 weeks time, God willing, everything goes well, and I knock my man out here. And it's a McDonald's, an Indy and a bevy with my mates. And you need that time off. But see, like 4 or 5 days after the Friday night, after fight night, I'm just longing to get back into a camp. And see, what's that part of the devil loves idle hands? And that's the quote. Yeah. That's the crack. See, if you get too much time in your hands, you're in serious trouble. You need structure. And I need that. I'm not saying I'm going to go off and make stupid decisions or not. I'm too long in the tooth for that now. But I've got to know myself, and I know that I'm at my best when I'm up in the morning and I'm in my wheelie bin I've got out the back, which is my ice bath, and then I'm going my runs and I'm doing. That's when you're slightly stretched, you're just much better.
You obsessed with the game?
I would say so. I mean, I do think about that. I'm obsessed, but
that's where the addictive personality's coming in, isn't it?
I think I'm obsessed. Like, no, don't get me wrong. Like, no, I mean, there can be big shows on the telly and things like that. I'm obsessed as a fan.
As a fighter, I mean.
As a fighter, I'm obsessed with. Yes, definitely. That's it. Not obsessed as a fan. I can miss boxing on the telly, but in terms of like personal development and more so than not physical development as an athlete. It'd be great to have enough time in my hands to be pure focused on that. I get myself ready. I'm not too not too worried about all the ones and zeros in the spreadsheet, you know what I mean? I know what I need to do and I know when I'm right. But I'm obsessed about just personal development, becoming a better person. I know that sounds mega cheesy, but you know, if that makes any sense, I'm obsessed with putting myself in awkward, uncomfortable character building situations and coming out the back of them better for it.
Is that when you shine?
Aye, big time, aye. Oh, that's it. So that I'm full of these analogies. Diamonds are formed under pressure, but that's it. You don't, for any young fighters coming up and all that, I sound like Gandhi here, Barcelona, don't I? But like, you don't grow in comfortable positions. So take the fights at 10 days' notice. Go in with the power punchers that nobody wants to get in with. Test yourself and see how you come out the back. You'll come out all the better for it.
To be the best, you need to beat the best. If you don't try, the only thing in life is a big mistake is regret. You're fucked. If you get in there and you've got regret in life and you're lying there in 20 years' time, fucking hell, I wish I'd done that.
Aye.
You can't get it back.
That's terrifying, that. And by the way, that's something I've always said to folk. I mean, imagine being that guy sitting at the end of the bar. I could have been a contender and all that. Nah, no chance. It'll not be David Jamieson. I'm telling you that right now. I'll walk away with my head held high, however far I go. And as long as I know that I can put my head in a pillow at night, and I gave it that, I hate that 110%. See, for MD it says 110%, you need to check that, because it's 100%. There's no more than 100%. Give it 100%. And then when you walk away, well, you land where you land, don't you?
You love this game, big man, don't you?
I do, aye. It's well, there you go. You asked me that question a minute ago, and I'm humming and hawing, but you listen to me speaking about it, it rips out me, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a love-hate relationship, but any fighter that's done it for as long or is invested will tell you that it's a love-hate relationship. But no, it's in me. Boxing flows through my veins. There's another cheesy cracker. There'll be a couple of these that you'll get through this, innit?
When did you realise that, you know what, I can make a career of this?
Aye, well, there you go. That's another good question, man. Have I made a career of it? Right, okay, I get paid well for my last one. Aye, you're making all right money. It's certainly not career money yet. Well, it's not pay the mortgage money and quit my job stuff. I'm still Davey the workshop manager.
This is a lifestyle to you, but that's the way I'm looking at it.
It is, but in terms of, we were talking about this at the start, it's a very good question. Unless you're Olympic gold medal, turning pro, mega sponsors, matchroom signing bonus, blah, 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 20, 30 grand a fight, that's career money. 5 grand a fight here and there, that's not quit your job money. You know, it's not. It's a career in terms of like, you take it on as a career. I apply myself like it's my career, but it's not my career, if you see what I'm saying. I'm still very much working full time. How
do you get that balance for working and training? That must be tough, man.
That's the hardest part. That is the hardest part. I work a 45, 50 hour week in a construction workshop. I'm a manager in there, so I'm on the tools very much. And aye, you're out doing your running at 5 in the morning, you're going to work. We start at 7, finish at sort of 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then when you finish again, you're up the road, it's a quick coffee, and then we're in the gym for 6 o'clock. And in the gym at 8 o'clock, back up the road, you're getting your dinner late on. So it's just, that's the hardest part.
Are you feeling it?
Big time, aye. It's more a mental thing than a physical thing. My body doesn't recover anywhere near the way it did when I was like 25. Not that I'm saying I'm old, but at 31, you need to be going for the Epsom salt baths and all that sort of stuff. Like I said, I get a wheelie bin off of South Lanarkshire Council that I plumbed in. I've got like a couple of speed fittings that I plugged my garden hose into it, and I put a couple of bags for Tesco. The ice in it. Now, the ice is like £1 out of Tesco, so I get two bags on the way up the road for training. You need to start doing all this stuff and really looking at your nutrition and all that. It's no easy.
You live the life bit, don't you?
Aye, big time. Well, if you're sitting in a wheelie bin in the pitch dark, in the pissing rain, at 5 o'clock in the morning, if that's not living a life, I don't know what is.
That's what the neighbours are saying about the Asbos, that's you, because of the hassle. And the
Aye,
two dogs run about
folk
daft.
are in the randan down the street, and I'm sitting in my bin. Aye, I know that, I know. Sectioned. It's Carstairs next, isn't it? In a straight jacket.
So, what do you do outside of boxing? What takes your mind off of things?
Just spending time with my wife and my dogs. Aye, what do I do? Christ, all I do is work and train, mate. That's honestly, and that's... Aye, apart from that, it's just spend a bit of time with Michaela, take the dogs for nice walks. We like our scran, go for some good food, man, we like.
You're a butcher shop man, aren't you?
Oh, big time. Well, they actually come on, they sponsored us.
You get a scran for fuck all, aye?
Well, this was the part, right? Because I couldn't wait to get in when I came back up the road for the British title, and then I had a broken jaw, didn't I? So I was in soup for 6 weeks, man. So I've still not even been in to see them.
Everyone's out the window then, with that broken jaw.
Murder, mate. Tell you a funny story. We were staying in the Hilton in Islington in London, and that was like the fighter hotel. It was only a couple of miles from Ali Pali. All week, me and my team, Steph, Jerry, my missus, walked up and down this street in Islington in London. It's a right nice bit of London. All these wee places to eat. By the way, like artisan bakeries, like just ridiculous, like £4 a donut and all that, but everything looked minted. All week we'd walked up and down this street. I can't wait till Sunday. I could do a bit of damage here and there. I get blue lighted to the London hospital with a broken jaw. I'm in soup for 6 weeks and like didn't get to get out and get a bite to eat at all, man.
I'm sure I've seen a picture. Do you not get a Five Guys, a milkshake through the straw?
I know, because Michaela sneaked out. She was away and get a Five Guys, but she brought me up a peanut butter milkshake, so that sort of clawed it back.
They're quality, aren't they?
Oh, brilliant, mate, brilliant.
Did you miss the steaks and that? The kind of the odd cold beer here and there?
That's what I say. I mean, I love my grub, so no, that was probably the hardest part. And then my concern just switched instantly to, am I going to be able to get my Christmas dinner? And that was what I was saying to the surgeon, like, I mean, I've got 5 weeks to Christmas here, am I going to be able to eat my Christmas dinner?
What did he say to you?
He was just like, no, by that point you should be on to, like, aye, definitely, you should be on to like solid foods, if you like.
So let's just touch on your amateur career. Good memories, big man?
Brilliant memories, aye. Very fond memories, but I'll be honest with that, like, I thoroughly enjoy the pros more than what I did with the amateurs. The amateurs is a case of serving your time, character building, putting yourself in all these positions and you learn your trade. But no, I thoroughly enjoy the pros more than what I did with the amateurs. And I had very much a sort of, not a 50-50 record as an amateur, but I wasn't like the standout, Scotland squad, GB, podium boxer. I wasn't like that. I had some good 50-50s, back and forth fights, some rivalries, some good wins, some losses, the robberies. You experienced it all. It was just a right good apprenticeship for the pros.
Who's the best you faced?
Best I've ever been in the ring with? That's a good one. Do you know, back when I was training in Blantyre Miners Welfare, and I was campaigning at light heavyweight, so I was young, I was in 81 kilograms, and Spring Hill came through for a bit of sparring and they brought a boy called Kieran Smith.
I know Kieran Smith, he's good.
And Kieran's actually a good pal of mine, shout out to Kieran. But Kieran came in and I'd done a couple of rounds sparring with Kieran Smith in the ring in Blantyre, and I couldn't lay a glove on him. And at that point, and even to now, obviously I've improved vastly since then, so has Kieran. But at that time, Kieran was the best I'd ever been in the ring with. I was brilliant.
Do you think he's got the beating of Denzel Bentley?
It's a serious fight, that.
Fight,
I hope to God he does. I mean, I'm very much backing Kieran. But Denzel, listen, it's a tough ass. Denzel's a good fighter.
Kieran's got a great coach in Ped Lynch as well.
Big time.
He's been in the game a long time, and I hope they can get the victory. Listen, that's a winnable fight.
Oh,
listen,
aye.
Denzel can bang, but Kieran's a superior boxer. It's no mission impossible.
If there was ever a time for him to do it, this is the time. This is his time to go. And I think Kieran knows that. Listen, come on. We've all got him on Instagram, Facebook and all that. This guy's, I mean, you talk about boxers working hard. I mean, Kieran Smith's on a different level. Guy's just cycling around the world and then he's back up the road and it's just different level.
And listen, when he fought Troy Williamson, sure, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he just got caught with a big shot. That's all that was. It's boxing, that's what happens. He'll come again, and listen, this is a great fight and I hope he can get it done.
Oh no, I'd love to hear if there's anybody that deserves it. You talk about deserving things, paying your dues in boxing. Kieran deserves it. That was, you talk about Troy. Troy's a wrecking ball, man.
He's a banger, isn't he?
Oh, he's a banger. Big time. I know what that. Not a banger like
Aye,
you. Not a oh, no,
you
he
know what I
can
mean?
bang.
Aye, aye.
Aye.
So you touched on just a few minutes ago on Billy Leach. Tell me a bit more about Billy.
Billy, massive influence. Probably my first real influence when it came to training. So, like I say, I started going to like an MMA class in John Wright Sports Centre. Realised I was better with my hands, and would get put onto Billy. So Billy ran a circuit class on a Wednesday and a Friday. And there was like 2 classes. It was like started at 5 to 6 and then 6 to 7, or it was 4 to 5, something like that. And the same on the Friday. I started going along to Billy's, and it was just, you speak to MD that was a part of that sort of era they talk about. It was just in this wee dingy room at the top of back of John Wright's. Windows were shut. Place was like hotter than a sauna. I kid you not, it was like 50 degrees. You couldn't breathe. The floor was that soaked with every sweat. It was that old like wooden gym floor, and it was all bubbling. It was wrecked. Just old rubbish bags that people had donated over the years. You were punching them as like dust coming at them and all that. It was brilliant, man. Brilliant. Great times.
Did you learn a lot from Billy?
Aye, yeah. Not so much. Right, okay, like the technical side of boxing, yeah. He taught us the basics and things like that, but Billy was more about mental fortitude. Like all this stuff I'm banging on about character building. Like, can you go to the well? Billy took you, every week. If you run that class twice a week, you went to the well every time. Proper character building. I'm going to drop dead in this class. That was where you were. You're going to hit the deck, and that's you're not getting back up. That was where he took you to. So it was invaluable having that, because you knew then when you went into fight night, you knew you had the minerals. It wasn't going to be harder than Billy's. No chance.
Did he believe in you?
Yeah, aye, big time, aye. Well, he it was Billy that gave me the whole chat. Right, I think you should go down to Blantyre Miners Welfare. I think you should go down, and that was like my first experience of going down and walking into a boxing gym. When I was just a heavy ginger lad getting a bit of grief at school. Didn't really know if I was going to take it that serious or start actually boxing amateur and stuff. And it was him. He says, "Look, do you want to start taking this serious?" And I says, "Aye, well, aye." And he's like, "Right, look, go down and tell them Billy Leach sent you," all that sort of stuff.
So you spent a lot of time at Blantyre Miners Welfare Club. Has that been a second home to you?
It was, yeah, definitely it was. It was a massive part of me maturing and obviously coming up as a fighter. And then, well, here we are, Priestfield Boxing Club. This has been a much bigger part played than what the Miners Welfare did.
Has that been like a new lease of life when you came here?
Yeah, big time. I think it was like, you hear all that for the people, by the people sort of thing. Well, Priestfield was started for us, by us. It was Tam Slavin took the reins, came away, opened up the club, and it was just, all the coaches that we were all tight together at the Miners Welfare, and we had our own club, our own space, our own views on how to approach things, and more importantly, your own relationships with other clubs.
So now you're under the guidance of Jerry Higgins. How's your whole journey been with Jerry?
The Hurricane. Aye, Jerry. Listen, first and foremost, I said that to you earlier on, first and foremost, me and Jerry clicked as mates, as pals, good partner together and things like that. Well, we think it's good partner, but we get a right good laugh together. And then, the whole turning pro scenario, and Jerry was like, look, I asked Jerry to train us, he was more than happy to do it, and we've just went from strength to strength. Like, me and Jerry, it's that old cliche thing, like, you can just tell with a look. You don't even need to say anything. We know how each other work, and there's no like barriers there. There's no like in boxing like that ego, like, I'm trying to be the tough guy and I can't see. Like, see if I'm not right, I'll just tell Jerry I'm not right. It's no, try to be the man. Nah,
No secrets?
No, nothing like that. Love Jerry to bits. He's family, man. It's total family. And by the way, you get close. You go through some pretty, how would you say?
Testing
Pretty
times.
pretty unique situations in boxing. going through training camps and fights, all that sort of stuff. So you develop quite a unique bond.
Does he go above and beyond for you?
Aye, definitely, aye. Listen, I'm not the easiest person to be around, like, that long into a camp and you're cutting weight and things like that. So no, listen, but he's in it for all the right reasons, Jerry. He's in it for, for the love of the game, for me, for, there's a lot of trainers out there these days, I think, that it's about me, 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 me. Jerry's a quiet man. You would never know he was in the room. He lets you do your thing, and he's there for when he's needed.
Did you click straight away?
Aye, like I say, it was just the patter thing right off. We clicked first as mates. Obviously, we were in the gym doing pads and things like that, but we clicked first as mates, and we've always had that rapport, right good crack back and forth. And then, but the boxing, I couldn't. People have always spoke about what me pressing on, going into like the latter stages of my career, maybe picking British titles up, all that sort of stuff, and bigger money and onto titles and all that sort of stuff. And do you need to go down south? Do you need to change trainers? I'll never box under MD other than Jerry. It's there's a loyalty there as well. And by the way, nobody, I don't care if you're Ben Davidsons, your Freddie Roaches and stuff like that, nobody can give me any more than what I get for Jerry.
Especially in boxing, loyalty is a treasured gift.
Yeah.
If you ask me, it's very hard to get loyalty in boxing.
Yeah.
But between you and Jerry, is that loyalty and that bond there as strong as ever?
Oh, it's solid. It ties into the sort of mental state thing. Solid, man. Me and Jerry are. I've been through it. We've experienced a whole lot together in the last few years. In and out of the ring, believe it or not. It's no just. He's not just my boxing coach, I mean, he's my best mate, and he's there for us through thick and thin.
Can you talk to Jerry about anything?
Aye, everything. Aye, yeah, definitely.
Do you get good sparring, David?
Aye, that's another good point. Right, good question. Up in Scotland, I mean, yeah, we started going down. We sparring with Ellis Zorro. We were going down to the Peacock Gym in Essex and stuff like that. Great sparring, top 10 UK sparring, innit?
Definitely.
But that stuff's few and far between. Up in Scotland, you're sparring with middleweights, you're sparring with light heavyweights, you're sparring with cruiserweights, you're sparring with heavyweights. You're taking whatever you can get and things like that. A lot of people, listen, let's not kid on. Sparring's obviously a massive part of training. It's very, very important. But as I start getting older, tying into what you said about do you love what you do, like the training, things like that, sparring. I'm very much at a stage now, I've been doing it that long, I don't need rough and tumble heavy duty sparring. I just need enough to get my eye in, to get my timing and my distance. And see, as long as that's locked in and that's what you're getting, then I'm ready to go. It's I don't, guys are in the gym having wars for weeks and weeks and weeks, fighting 8 to 10 rounds a night, 3 nights a week. It's madness, it's crazy.
That's what puts the miles in the clock, doesn't it?
Listen, well, that ties me into my next point. People don't want to talk about it. Let's be honest. People don't want to talk about the miles in the clock. Brain cells. I've always had this sort of analogy. Boxing's pounds for brain cells. On fight night, you get paid pounds for brain cells. You don't get paid pounds in the gym. So if you're not getting paid for it, and let's not kid on, that's professional boxing. It's for monetary terms. Why are you in there having wars with guys, especially when you've been doing it as long as I've been doing it? You want to prove you're the man. Listen, see, if you want to be the man, you can be the man. I don't care. On fight nights, a different kettle of fish. But if you're wanting to be the man in the gym, shoot it in, mate. On you go.
Do you think good and balanced sparring is a great education for a fighter?
Yeah, aye. It's something all this sort of body sparring and stuff like that like the Ingo Gym are mad advocates of. Tech sparring, this is another phrase that comes up, and I'll hold my hands up. I was the first to go, what a pish, this tech sparring and all that. It's not a real representation of what you're going to get into in fight night. But now, getting a bit older, a bit wiser, a few more miles in the clock, I've had plenty of sore faces. I really do think that stuff is it's very, very beneficial.
Do you feel that the good sparring is a kind of reality check for a fighter? No, not gym wars, but good sparring.
Aye, it's as good an indication of where you are, but it's a tough one. It's I think it's very much specific to the individual. Because I'm definitely off in a totally different. Because I honestly, well, there you go. That was my case in point. I had no sparring for the Mikel Lawal fight.
That's crazy because you
None.
took it in short notice.
That
Though.
was that. It's honestly just getting your eye in, getting your distance and your timing. Do I need to know if I've got the minerals? I know I've got the minerals. I've been doing it long enough. There's no qualms in my head about that. I know if I need to go to the well, I can go to the well. As long as you get your distance, your timing. I mean, all that's left to do is do it.
Well, moving on, let's just jump on to some big fights that are coming up. And one fight that certainly get the juices flowing is Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. How badly does Josh Taylor need this fight?
It's a cracker, isn't it? They're talking about it maybe at Hibs Stadium. What a homecoming that would be. I mean, but he deserves it. Josh has been away. He's been like the away fighter. He's been away fighting in Vegas. He's took all these hard fights. It'd be nice to get him back over here on the Scottish soil and give him that big homecoming.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think the fight might actually trap at Madison Square Garden. Now, that'd be huge for Josh as well. It's an absolute spellbinding contest. How does Josh Taylor win this fight?
It's a cracking fight. Proper boxing match. The only thing I'll say is, and not taking anything away from him, I think Teofimo Lopez has got an old overnight scenario. He's certainly not the fighter he was 2-3 fights ago. And if he was, I reckon it'd have been a totally different outcome. But I reckon that Josh will just keep it nice and sharp, nice and long. And I think Lopez will struggle.
What kind of threats does Teo possess towards Josh in this fight?
Well, aside for the getting old overnight scenario, I mean, look at what he was doing 2-3 fights ago. I mean, what attribute does this guy not have? He's got them all. I still believe he's got them in the locker. I just don't think he can quite pull the trigger the same.
The thing with Teofimo Lopez, the way I've watched him fight, is he tries and takes that attribute that you're good at and tries to take it away from you. He done it with Loma with the angles.
Yep.
Can he do that against Josh?
Oh, well, that's what makes it such a compelling fight, then it's. But no, I don't think he can. I do believe. I know everybody talks about the Catterall scenario, and we could open up a kettle, a can of worms. But it's. I just believe that see that mid to long range, sharp, like twitchy boxing. Nobody does it as well as Josh Taylor. He keeps you there. He keeps you out there. He's wee feints, cracking big jab, and when he starts putting the punches together, I just don't see him to get near him.
18 fights, undisputed, done it all on the road. It's truly incredible, isn't it, really?
Mega. Honestly, I mean, everybody talks about like in terms of like the best ever Scotland. They talk about Ken Buchanan, talk about Ricky Burns, Scott Harrison. I mean, Josh Taylor. I mean, look at what he's went on and done. Going out there and beating Ramirez, unifying the division. That's massive.
And as you touched on, there's been a lot of drama and stick for the Catterall fight. But you look at it, David, right? Timo Field's with top rank. Josh Taylor's with top rank. I think this has been out of Josh's hands. We're not going ahead with the Catterall fight. It's a business, as we always talk about.
That's what we're talking about earlier on there. Touched on it. It's not a sport first and foremost. It's a business. It's about money. Top rank are no daft. They're going to realise they're both top rank fighters. It's almost double bubble for them. And by the way, it's a great fight. Let's not kid on. I mean, it's pay to watch stuff.
It's a super fight.
Mega fight, aye, massive.
And it's one that Josh certainly needs at this time in his career. As crazy as that sounds and what he's done, but he's 60, the time he fight maybe 16, 17 months out the ring, he will need a big performance in there.
Big performance, and it's not that. I think, honestly, Josh has paid his dues and done what he's done, and he's getting into that latter part of his career where it's big names and big money. You've done it, you've proved it, unified the division. Come on, all the belts. So you've been there, done it, right, okay, title defences, all that stuff. Big names, big money, big draw. 3 or 4 of them, and then you ride off into the sunset.
Oh, definitely. Just going back to the fight with Teofimo Lopez, I can't wait to the build up. This is going to be insane. Look at Tio's dad, right?
His dad, aye.
Not all his dogs are barking. Let me tell you, right? He's going to be giving it. Josh is going to be giving it. It sells this fight definitely.
Big time, aye. Because that's the thing. Taylor's no stranger to talking as well, but he's like he's like that old school Scottish hard man patter. And the Americans, they don't really know how to take that sort of thing. No, because the Americans they're very much it's like scripted sort of stuff. But the thing is, they're just trying to put bums in seats and sell tickets, whereas Taylor will actually be saying, "No, listen, mate, I'm going to smash your head in," and genuinely meaning it. That's
the thing with Josh. Remember the Ramirez fighting after the win? He's wanted to roll out with Mexicans.
Aye.
That's a guy he's tapped here, that slight tapped upstairs, but you need that to be an elite level fighter, and this man's got it in every department.
A bit of badness in you. I think you need everybody talks about that spite. Aye, a bit of a vicious streak, and Taylor's got it. He's got it in abundance.
And I believe Josh Taylor will have the mental edge going in there. He'll get under his skin. He'll upset the apple cart, and that'll be a huge factor going into the fight.
Yeah, I think so. I think Taylor's. Okay. But the Carroll thing, bad performance, whatever else. But I think Taylor's very much still at the peak of his powers, whereas Lopez is a wee bit in the slide. And even if you're an elite level fighter, you know how you are off the back of your last performance. Lopez will know in the back of his head, in a wee quiet moment of reflection, he'll know that he's not quite where he was 2-3 years ago, and Taylor will know that he's there for the taking.
Joe's under the guidance now, Joe McNally, arguably one of the most hottest gyms of rotunda in the UK at the moment. How beneficial is it having somebody like Joe in Josh's corner now? Oh,
big time, aye. I mean, we were talking about that earlier on. I think that's one of the best gyms in the UK. Smith Brothers, I mean, look at William there. I mean, tremendous. I was ringside for that. I mean, mega. Yeah, definitely. It's having that somebody that you believe in the corner when you're coming back and things are maybe not going quite your way. You need to be able to buy into exactly what they're telling you and listen to the instructions.
What impresses you most about Josh Taylor as a whole fighter?
Sharpness, judgment of distance, feet placement's very good. He's just very, very sharp. Uses the southpaw angles tremendously. He's, like I say, see that mid to long range boxing stuff, the way he picks and places his punches, just so composed. When he starts putting his punches together, he's tremendous.
Does this fight put Josh Taylor back at the top of the mountain? He's already at the top of the mountain, arguably, right? But this Carroll fight, the big dark cloud hanging over it.
It's amazing the difference that's made. No, because this guy is absolutely at the pinnacle. But it's amazing the wee sort of black mark that's left on that, and people are talking as if. So it's whether. I know I've interrupted you there, but it's whether. I don't think the Carroll fight will now happen. I don't think it will happen. Is this going to tarnish Josh's career? Does it need to happen for him to rid himself?
I would probably say at welter it might happen, because this has got to be Josh Taylor's last fight at 140. It's got to be. He's 31 now. Josh will know himself. Can they do it at welter down the line? Probably can. It'll be a great fight. It'll sell down the line.
Big time.
But just give me a prediction for Timofeo versus Josh and how this fight finishes.
I think I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to say a Taylor stoppage. I think it'll be nice and cagey through the early rounds, and then I think both of them will start committing. But I just think Taylor he cuts his angles too well. He's very, very sharp, and I think when he starts putting his punches together, he's an underrated body puncher. Goes to the body very well. Wee uppercuts up through the middle and stuff like that. And I just think, like I said about the Teofimo getting old overnight, his last few performances, he's certainly not the fighter he was. Still a tremendous fighter, what a talent. But I honestly think Taylor will maybe just go through the gears and maybe get him out of there.
It'd be tremendous to see Easter Road, but listen, Madison Square Garden will be a limestone for Josh to tick.
Well, there you go. I mean, put myself in that position. I'm not a mad football fan, but like, okay, packing out a stadium in Scotland or the Madison Square Garden, I'd still go for the Madison Square Garden. Come on, it's the Mecca.
He's a hippie as well, so that would mean a lot to him. Do you know
exactly,
what I mean?
I know that.
But let's just jump on to Fury Usyk for the Undisputed. This is a blockbuster.
Mega. Usyk obviously campaigned at Maui, one of the best, tremendous. You talking about cutting angles there and stuff like that with Taylor. I mean, Usyk just does stuff that I mean, it's like a PlayStation game, innit? Just
Robot.
aye, ridiculous stuff. I just honestly believe it's a bridge too far. In boxing, the fairy tale thing, you don't often get the fairy tales. A good big man beats a good wee man every time.
Is this Tyson Fury's biggest test so far in his career?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you can't say no. Of course it is. It's Usyk. I mean, he's a totally different entity. You talk about boxers, you talk about world level, elite world level boxers, and then you talk about Usyk. I mean, it's different level. So in terms of skill set and on paper, yes, but I just don't know. It's the size thing for me, mate. I honestly, I think it's an easier fight for Fury than what folk make out.
Tell me this then, right? Tyson Fury mentally bamboozles all his opponents.
Yeah.
Alexander Usyk, his English is very restricted.
Yep.
Will that play a big factor in the build-up to this fight? That he can't get under his skin, he can't annoy him, he can't ruffle his feathers?
Definitely. Aye, because you look at, like, case in point, the Klitschko thing. It was the build-up, and it was the sitting there on this scenario at a table with me roasting the whole off you, and you know that was the part. It really got under his skin, and he just, it was like, by the time he was walking to the ring, he was 3-0 down. Usyk, he's getting all the patter on Instagram. Hey Belly, where are you? All this sort of stuff, and it's very broken English, and he'll not understand. He'll just not get it. And I think to be honest, he's not going to go out his way to try and get translators in to know what he's saying. He's not going to care.
Can Alexander Usyk test the minerals, the heart and the soul of Tyson Fury by mentally frustrating him?
Aye, there's a good point, because everybody talks about, like, obviously Fury's mental fortitude. He's obviously the ambassador for the mental health, and he's had his own demons and stuff like that, and he's get better. But I think that's a very good point. Maybe Usyk can get under Fury's skin.
So you've got to change your mind now, haven't you?
I know, it's like maybe he can, because he's playing a bit of the mind games. He's playing all the fat card and stuff on Instagram and where are you, Belly, all that stuff. So maybe he's going to start playing a couple of mind games himself.
Where's the fight won and lost for Alexander Usyk then?
Oh, in the middle of the ring. Aye, in the middle of the ring. Can you? It's just, I just don't see a way around that size, mate. I was down in Morecambe sparring with Tommy Fury, and Tyson and that appeared. He's huge. He's massive. His arms are like, I can't tell you the length of the guy. He's very, very big. Usyk's not that much bigger than me. All right, he's filled out and stuff into the weight, but in terms of frame, it's who's going to be able to judge the distance. I know Usyk can move, he can, all that sort of stuff, but can you reach up there? You can't just hit his body all night.
The feints in this fight, the foot feints, the head feints are huge.
Massive.
For both men.
It's going to be meeting in the centre of the ring, and it's going to be that game of chess. I don't think it's going to come down to the tear up. They're both too good, too silky boxers for that. I'll go the distance, I'd reckon. But it's going to be it's proper boxing purist stuff. This is not going to be a good fight for your casual boxing fan who just wants to see Mike and Peter scrapping for a sausage supper down at the centre. So
give me a prediction for that fight. Let's close it in that.
I think Fury, just a points decision.
Well, it's certainly one we're looking forward to, and it's certainly a fight that boxing needs at this time.
Oh no, definitely. I think everybody's starting to see that now. These big fights, there can't be that much hype about it and stuff like that, and they don't get made. They need to be made. So
that's us for the day, champ. I really appreciate your time and coming on. I'm going to leave the show with you. Anything like to add? Just thanks for coming down, man. I know it was right good getting a blether with you, and get that podcast thing up and running. Give me a call. We'll get another blether. I wish you all the best and all the best in the 10th of March as well. We'll go and get that W, big man. Brilliant, mate. Nice one. Cheers, mate. Thank you.